The description of Umrah. Umrah is prescribed at all times of the year, and it's recommended to repeat it because of the saying of the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him.
تابعوا بين الحج والعمرة فإنهما ينفيان الفقر والذنوب كما ينفي الكير خبث الحديد والذهب والفضة.
And it's more recommended in Ramadan and in the months of Hajj. Umrah has designated places from which it is obligatory for those who passed by it with the intention of performing the rites to assume ihram. The designated places vary according to their sides from the haram. So, the specified place for the people of Medina is Dhul Halefa, and the Miqat for the people of Sham, Syria, is Al-Jufa. The Miqat for the people of Najd is Karnu Manazil. The Miqat for the people of Yemen is Yalamlam. The Miqat for the people of Iraq and the rest of the Easterners is Datu Irq. These places are for its residents and for those who pass by it intending the Umrah sites. Whoever travels either by road or sea or air, and there is no Miqat, he should make effort to locate one and assume Thram when he thinks he aligns with any of the Miqat. And if he's confused, he must be cautious and assume ihram before that, at a time when he thinks he is most likely assumed ihram before aligning near the Miqat. And whoever passes the Miqat without intending the rites, and then intends it afterwards, or is one of those who live in between the Miqat and the Haram, sacred area, then he assumes ihram from his place. Whoever is already staying in Makkah or in the vicinity of the Haram sanctuary, his ihram is from the nearest place outside of the boundaries of the Haram sanctuary, such as the Al-Tanim Mosque. So, assuming the ihram from the Miqat or the Al-Hil non-sacred area for the people of Makkah is one of the obligatory acts of Umrah. It is sunnah, recommended, to perform the ritual bath before assuming ihram, as well as using perfume in the body but not on the clothes. There is no wrong in the effect of perfume after ihram. It is binding on whoever wants to assume ihram to make sure that he takes care of his mustache, nails, pubic hair, and armpits, if the need arises to take from them, lest he needs to do so after ihram. Then he strips of his clothes. The sunnah for him is to assume ihram in a clean lower garment and robe, and it is most preferable if they are white. If he clasps his robe with a clip or wears a loose-fitting garment to save his expenses and what is needed to be covered, it is permissible for him to do so. And the woman wears whatever clothes she wants, without displaying her adornment, and if she needs to cover her face due to the passage of strange men close to her, then she lowers her hijab from her head over her face. It is preferred for the pilgrim to assume ihram after an obligatory prayer, following the example of the Prophet, may Allah's prayers and peace be upon him, and his companions, and if it is habit to pray the duha, forenoon, or the sunnah of ablution, it is recommended that he assume aftermath. Then he intends to assume ihram. Assuming ihram is one of the pillars of Umrah, and it is the intention to begin Umrah, so whoever wears the ihram garments without having the intention is not in a state of ihram. And whoever intends to begin Umrah, then he is in ihram, even if he did not wear the ihram garments, but he has committed one of the prohibitions of ihram. And if he fears for himself what may prevent him from completing his rituals, such as the fear of illness, he stipulates in any wording that indicates that, such as saying, if something prevents me from completing, then I shall be free from my ihram, where you prevents me. And when the pilgrim begins the ritual acts, he must avoid what is called the prohibitions of ihram, which are removing the hair from all over the body. There is nothing wrong with the pilgrim scratching his head or washing it, trimming the nails, so the nail is not removed by trimming, breaking, or cutting it, and it breaks by itself. It is permitted for him to cut it, and nothing is obligatory on him. The use of perfume on the body and clothing. Whomever uses perfume deliberately, he must pay the fidyah, ransom, and covering the head for the male, like wearing a cap, gutra, or turban, is also a prohibited act from the prohibitions of ihram. There is nothing wrong with him seeking shade under a tent, car, umbrella, and the likes. And if the pilgrim carries something on his head and it covers his head, that is okay, if he did not intend by it to cover the head. But whoever covers his head deliberately, he must pay the ransom. Covering the face for the pilgrim is permissible, according to the correct sayings of the scholars. Wearing of sewn clothing for males is a prohibited act from the prohibitions of Ihram, and a sewn clothing is one formed according to the size of the body or body parts, such as shirts, trousers, and the likes. So whoever wears a sewn clothing, the ransom is due on him. Part of what is regarded as sewn clothing for male is wearing of socks and kuf, slippers. Except for the one who cannot find the sandals, it is allowed for him to wear slippers. On the kuf, it's anything that covers the foot, according to the correct scholarly opinion. As for the woman, there is nothing wrong with her to wear slippers and socks. And women must not use veil. It is forbidden for men and women to wear gloves. It is forbidden to fondle women during ritual acts. Whoever ejaculates due to fondling, his rituals are not invalid, but he must pay the ransom. The fidya, ransom for these prohibited acts, is to choose between fasting for 3 days, or feeding of 6 poor people, or slaughtering a sheep. Hunting, or aiding in it, is also a prohibited act from the prohibition of Ihram. Whoever killed a game, he must offer the ransom for game killing. Proposing to a lady, the marriage contract are prohibited on the pilgrim in Ihram. Whether he is guardian or husband or wife, such marriage contract is void, and there's no ransom on it. Sexual intercourse spoils the rites, and it's compulsory for the pilgrim to complete the Umrah. He must make up for it, and a ransom is due on it, which is slaughtering a sheep. Whoever does any of the prohibitions of Ihram forgetfully, ignorantly, or under duress, there is nothing on him. Then, when he rides his car, it is recommended for him to praise Allah, glorify Him, and exalt Him. Then he will commence the rite saying, Labaika Umratan, I respond your call for Umrah, O Allah. He should start chanting the Talbiyah as soon as he starts his journey to Makkah, raising his voice with it saying,
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك.
And a woman only chants as much as she hears herself. When he reaches Makkah, it is mustahab, recommended for him to do ghusl, ritual bath, before entering it, and to enter it during the day. Then he continues to chant the Talbiyah, and when he reaches the sacred house, he stops reciting the Talbiyah before commencing the Tawaf, circumambulation of the Kaaba. Tawaf must be done while in the state of purity, following the example of the Prophet, may peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. Tawaf is a pillar among the pillars of Umrah. He starts his Tawaf from the corner where the black stone is. He faces it, wipes his hand over it, and kisses it without crowding or harming anyone. If he is unable to do so, he should only touch it with his hand or with a stick, and kissed what he touched with it. And if he is unable to do so, he is content with pointing to it, and he does not kiss what he pointed with. It is not permissible for the woman to crowd with men to kiss the stone, but rather they should circumambulate behind them, men, and that is better for them. Then he begins his tawaf, saying, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, in the name of Allah, Allah is great. Then he makes the house to his left side. A man should speed up his walk, gait, while closing between his steps, in the first 3 rounds, and should bare his right shoulder and arm throughout his tawaf. Idhitba. Then he would go as close to the house, Kaaba, as he could, and engage in lots of remembrance and supplication in his tawaf. There is no specific supplication for each round. The purpose is achieved if he supplicates with any supplication. When he is parallel to the Yemeni corner, he wipes his right hand over it and does not kiss it. If that's difficult for him, he leaves it and proceeds with his circumambulation, without referring to it or saying takbir. It is desirable for him to say when between the Yemeni corner and the black stone,
ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار.
And whenever he comes in line with the black stone, he wipes his hands over it and kisses it and says, Allahu Akbar, Allah is great. If that's impossible for him, he only points to it and says, Allah is the greatest, until he completes 7 rounds. When he finished his circumambulation, he should move forward to the standing spot of Ibrahim and recite,
واتخذوا من مقام إبراهيم مصلى.
Then he prays 2 raka'ahs behind the maqam, the standing spot, with his shoulders covered. If it's possible to get close to the maqam without hardship or crowding, then it is the best. If that is not possible for him, then at anywhere in the mosque would suffice him. He recites in the first rak'ah after Al-Fatiha,
قل يا أيها الكافرون.
Say, O disbelievers. And in the second,
قل هو الله أحد.
Say, Allah is one. If it is easy for him to return to the stone and wipe his hand over it, he should do so, following the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Otherwise, he would proceed to Safa. Sa'i, walking, between Safa and Marwa, is one of the pillars of Umrah. When he's close to Safa, it's prescribed for him to recite the words of Almighty,
إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله.
and should say,
أبدأ بما بدأ الله به.
Then he ascends the Safa until he sees the Kaaba, if he is able, and then faces it and says the Takbir. Then he raises his hands and praises Allah, saying,
لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. لا إله إلا الله وحده أنجز وعده ونصر عبده وهزم الأحزاب وحده.
Then he prays for whatever he wants. Then he praises Allah for the second time. Then he prays for whatever he wants. Then he praises Allah for the 3rd time. Then he descends to Al-Marwa and starts his sa'i, walk, from Al-Safa by foot. Walking by foot is better than riding, except for those who have an excuse. He engages in lots of remembrance and prayers as much as possible during his walk. When the man sets foot at the bottom of the valley, he walks vigorously between the 2 green marks. It's not prescribed for the woman to hasten her walk. When he ascends Al-Marwa, he does remembrance and supplication as he did in Al-Safa, while facing the Qibla, except that he does not recite the verse. He'll repeat the process 7 times. He'll start at Al-Safa and ends at Al-Marwa. If the obligatory prayer is being offered, or a funeral is attended, while he is still circumambulating, tawaf, or walking, sa'i, he should pray. When the prayer is done, he starts from where he stopped. When he finishes his sa'i, he shaves his hair or shorten it. Shaving the hair is one of the obligatory acts of Umrah, so the pilgrim is allowed to shave all of it, which is the best, or shorten all of it. It is not prescribed for the woman to shorten her hair, so she holds her braids together if she has braids, or she grabs the end of her hair on her head and cuts it from the length of her fingertip. It is recommended to start with the right side when shaving the head, so the right part is done, then the left. Whoever ignores one of the pillars of Umrah, his rites are not complete unless with it, and whoever abandons an obligatory act, he will amend it with slaughtering. And whoever leaves a recommended act, there is nothing upon him. May Allah accept from us and you.